Welcome to Miss Evil Knits on Creativity, episode 10, part 2. If you haven't watched episode 10, part 1, please do so, because now we are casting on the Huldra vest. Are you ready? Let's go. We start by making an I-cord over 4 stitches. You can use the same needle size that you are using on the vest or half a size smaller. And you make the I-cord as long as the width of your shoulders. So from the left tip of the shoulder to the right tip of your shoulder, or as long you want, or the width you want to have on your Huldra vest. I will then bind off 2 stitches. So easy, just bind off 2 stitches. And then leave these 2 stitches on. And then we will start picking up stitches. You will need a crochet hook, and then we will start picking up stitches from this I-cord by just putting the I-cord under one of these stitches like this. And important here is that you stay in the same kind of line of stitches, so it doesn't turn around. But just following, picking up stitches in every stitch as it goes. And when you reach the end, make sure to pick up stitches all the way, and maybe even some extra here. It can be a bit tricky. Because you don't want the I-cord edge to kind of stick out. So pick up some extra here. So, and then transfer it to your main needle. Like that. Now I have picked up stitches and I have counted them, and I got 77 stitches. But how many you get, it depends totally on the size that your body is, the width between your shoulder tips, and also needles and yarns. Now we'll continue with the setup round, where we establish the pattern. And if we picked up this side that we picked up, this is the right side. And this is the wrong side. So what I will do now is to establish first the edge that will be for the armholes. And I will start by lifting, slipping 1, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, and then I will put a marker. So these 6 stitches, they will be the edge for the armholes. And then I will continue knitting purls until there are 6 stitches left. What I can do now is to count stitches and put up markers so that I know how I will start with my pattern. Then when I have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I have 6 stitches left, or as many as you are planning to have for your edge, put the marker, and then I knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1 with a yarn in front, knit 1, and slip 1 with a yarn in front, like that. So now I have made an I-cord. I picked up stitches and I have established the pattern. And now it's time to start knitting the back piece. And I will knit for about between 10 and 15 centimeters. And now I have knitted about 10 centimeters, and now you can see how the pattern has established. I have the edge stitches over 6 stitches, and I have the texture pattern, and I think it looks really nice. Now we'll continue to knit the back piece until it's time to do the increases under the arms. Now it's time to shape the back piece so I'll get a nice fit around the arms. And that will do by increasing. So I start knitting the edge stitches. Then I knit 1, and then I will do an increase. And here you can choose any kind of increase, but I will use the one that you use the loop from the round behind or before, like that. And then I have increased 1 stitch. And then I will do that on the other arm as well. And I will increase on every second round. So those times that I am on the right side, I will do the increase. And I suggest that you do at least 3 increases, even if you think that your back piece is wide enough. But you make the increases so you feel that you have a nice fit around the arms and that your back piece is wide enough to fit your back and the amount of ease that you want to have on your Huldra. And now I am done with my increases, and I did 5 increases on each side. And now it's done. The back piece is ready, at least for now. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to put those stitches on this rubber thingy, so I can use my needle for the front piece, like that. So what we have done now is the I-cord. We have picked up stitches, established the pattern with the edge stitches, and we have knitted and made increases for a nice fit around the arcs. And what we're going to do now is to start with the front piece. We will leave the back piece for now and start with the front piece, or the front pieces, since it's a right and a left piece in the beginning. And we start exactly the same as on the back piece by picking up stitches from the I-cord. But we will not pick up stitches all the way this time. We will pick up stitches for the right shoulder and the left shoulder. And in the between, in the middle here, we will not pick up any stitches, because here, this will be the neck, the back part of the neck, and here we will pick up stitches for the hood, but that's later. So now then, how many stitches should I pick up? If you remember, I picked up 77 stitches for the back. This was 77 stitches. And I want to pick up 1/3 for the right and left shoulder, and then leave about 1/3 for the neck. So if we divide 77 into 3 pieces, it will be approximately 25 in the middle and 26 for the right and left shoulders, or it would actually be exactly. So I will start by picking up 26 stitches for this right shoulder. And I pick up exactly the same as for the back. And I start all the way out here in the edge. And then make sure that I follow a straight line of stitches. 25 and 26. I think that's enough. And then I transfer it over to the needle I'm going to use. Like that. For me, 26 stitches. And now we're going to establish the edge stitches, and we're going to mirror the edge stitches we have here. It means that 6 stitches will be used here for the edge. And on this side, we're going to, for the neck, we're going to pick up stitches from the neck, around the neck for the hood. That means that we will not have these kind of edge with the end stitches, but we will make 2 stitches that will be the edge for the neckline. I'm actually going to pick up another stitch here. Like that. I think that would be perfect. That would make a nice even shoulder. Because you cannot say exactly 1/3. You have to look at it and see what would be good for me. If you want to have a really tight neck, or if you want to have a loose neck, or if you have it's already wide, then you maybe want to pick up more stitches for the shoulders. So now I picked up 28 stitches instead. I think that would be perfect. So we turn around and start with the wrong side and establish the edge pattern. And when you are on this side for the neck stitches, then I slip 2 stitches with a yarn in front. And then I will start knitting, and I will purl. And I will purl all the way to the other side until I have 6 stitches left on my needle. Let's see, 2, 4, 6. That, put on a marker, and then I knit 1, slip 1 with the yarn in front, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, and slip 1. So then I have established the pattern for the edge stitches. So 2 here and 6 here. What I'm going to do now is that I will form the neck by using short rows. And that's because if you imagine you have the head and then you have the neck, and the shoulders is not like a 90-degree angle. It's more like sloping. And that is what I want to form here, so that this part that is close to the shoulder or the neck, and where it's like sloping down gently from the neck to the shoulder, I want to form a kind of gusset here that is actually like a triangle, like this. And it is because it will form around the gusset, or around the neck. Because if you don't do that, you may risk having too much fabric here, and that will cause kind of a bump. So now we're going to make these short rows. If you want to, you can establish your texture pattern at the same time as knitting these short rows, but I will wait with that. I will do this in stockinette. I think it looks neat, and also it will be a little bit easier for me to show you. So before we start with the short rows, I want to see how many short rows we're going to make. And I'm planning on making 4 short rows. It means that I will have 8 extra rounds here, and I think that will be enough. And I will make the short rows over those middle stitches. And since I picked up 28 stitches, and if you subtract these 3 and these 2 stitches, I will have 20 left. And if I want to make 4 of these short rows, it means that on every short row I will have 5 stitches, because 4 times 5 will become 20. So remember that. Since this is a right shoulder, we start by knitting to the other end. And I will, here, when I come to the edge, I will put a marker there so I know. And the edge stitches, since this here, I will knit those, since it's the end of the round. I will turn the work around and slip those 2 stitches with the yarn in front. That's the marker. Now I will knit 4 stitches. 2 purl, 3, 4. And then I will make this short row turn. You can use any of your short row turns that you like. I will use the wrap and turn. And since I'm going to knit on the other side, and when I knit, I want to have the yarn back on the wrong side. It means that I slip and put the yarn in front and put that back, and then turn around. So by doing that, I now have the yarn where it should be when I start knitting. And then I knit all the way back. I don't pull. I don't want to pull too hard in this wrap. So just knit back. I knit those 2 last stitches. Turn around. And slip those 2. What I'm actually doing here, it's kind of making a kind of I-cord. I purl 4 stitches, and then I come to this. You see here? Can you see it? I have this wrap here. Then I just have yarn in front. I just lift it, flip it, and I lift up the wrap and put it back. And then I purl this, like purl 2 together. So that was like the 5th stitch. So now I'm going for my second short row. I purl 4 stitches. 3, 4. And then on the 5th, I make this wrap and turn. Have the yarn in front, and that becomes the yarn in the back. And then I continue with this until I've done 4 of these short rows. Now you can see that I have knitted all the way back to the right start. And I've done 4 short rows and made this kind of gusset for the forming of the neck and the shoulder. And now I will establish the texture pattern, and I will knit for a few more rounds until it's about 6 to 7 centimeters. And after that, I will start doing the increases to form the neck. So about maybe 6 more rounds. And there I made another 8 rounds, and the texture pattern is established. Now it's time to form the neckline by doing increases. And we'll do the increases like this, the same way as for the forming of the arms or under the arms. And I will do an increase to the right of this last stitch by picking up 1 stitch below, and knit that one and knit that one, and each. And then I will continue doing these increases. Since I want a round neck, and since I'm making a hood, it's easier and better to pick up stitches for the hood if you have a round neck. If you're not planning on making a neck, you can choose to have a more V neck. But if you're going to have a round neck, you do the increases every second round. So every time you come back to the left end of this right front piece, you make an increase. And how many increases should you make? Yeah, when I picked up the back stitches, I picked up 77 stitches. And if I divide that in 2, I get 38.5. And we can say 39 then. So I will continue increasing until I have about 39 stitches on my right piece. And now I am done with all the increases for the neck and the neckline. So what is left to do now? Yeah, it is to do the same thing, but mirrored for the left side of the front piece. And after that, we will connect the left and the right. And now I'm done with also the left side of the front piece. And now it's time to join them. And I knit until I only have the 2 stitches left. Remove the marker. And then I will put these 2 stitches on a spare needle, like that. And now I will join these 2 and those 2 on the other side together, so it becomes, these 4 stitches will become 2 stitches. And I will use the same technique as in a 2 needle bind off. So I will a bit fiddly. I will take 1 stitch there and 1 stitch in the back and knit these together. Like that. And then I do the same with the 2. Like that. So now 4 has become 2. And I can remove these markers as well. And then it's just continue knitting. Like that. Now it's joined in the middle, and here we have the opening, for the neck. And you should try it on now and make sure that you actually can fit through that opening with your neck. And I encourage you to try it on as long as you're knitting, just to make sure that it fits you. So continuously try the Huldra on. Now we have picked up stitches, we have done the short row, established a pattern, done the increases, and joined the right and the left front piece together. What we're going to do now is to continue knitting until it's time to do the increases for the arms, so it will fit nice around the arm. And if I bring up the back piece here, you see how they are looking together. And I get some kind of idea how long I need to knit before I should start doing the increases. But don't only just measure on the back piece. Try it on to make sure that you are doing the front piece as long as it needs to be. Like that. And look here. Now I'm done with my front pieces. I have tried the Huldra on and knitted a few extra rounds on both the front piece and the back piece to make sure that the arm holes are large enough. And now it's time to connect the front and the back so that we can start knitting in the round. And we're going to do that the same where we connected the right and the left front piece, and do it like these 3 needle bind off. So I'm going to take a spare needle and move these 6 stitches over to that one. And I want the front piece to be kind of lay over the back one, the back piece. So I have, this is the front and this is the back. So I'm putting this one over like that. It can be a little bit fiddly, especially when I have unspun and dark yarn, but we'll manage. So I take the first 2 stitches and knit them together and move. And then I take the next. Are you with me? And knit it together. Like that. I think we're going to make it. Whoops. And that. And we take number 5. And the last one. And like that. And now, this one we will fix later. And now we have closed the gap between the front and the back piece. And we can start knitting in the round. And now I will keep on knitting in the round until it's time to do the pocket. Now we will work the body, and we'll start with some nice, just calm and relaxing knitting in the round. If you want to shape your body a little bit by the waist, depending on what texture you have chosen, you can use the stitches that we have under the arms to just do some decreases. Make sure to try the Huldra on when you are knitting, so that you get the fit that you want. Either to have a straight fit, or have some waist shaping. We're now going to knit in the round with or without the waist shaping until it's about 5 centimeters above your belly button. And there we are going to start the pocket. And look here, I have knitted further on, and my Huldra is now about my waistline, or about 5 centimeters above my belly button, and it's time to knit the pocket. The pocket is placed centered on the front piece, and if you want to have guidelines on how many stitches that you should have when you start your pocket, I would suggest that it's pretty much the same stitches that you left here for the neck. It means for me that if I follow these inside these lines, I will have about the numbers that I want to have. So kind of 1/3 of your stitches should be. So 1/3 of your stitches plus the edge stitches, and you will have 6 edge stitches on each side. So I will knit until I am where it's time to have the pocket stitches. So I have here, this line, and I will have an extra 6 stitches, and that will be 2, 4, 6. Outside picture. So follow that line, and then 6. So here is where I will start knitting my pocket. And the 6 edge stitches will be the same that I have for the arms. And I will start with knit 1, slip 1 with the yarn in front, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1, and I put a marker. And then I knit until I come to the other side. And how many stitches you have for the pocket, it's pretty much up to you. If you start with a few number of stitches, or if you start with more than 1/3 of the stitches, it will affect the shape of your pocket. Now we'll see where I am. No, I shouldn't do those. You? No? Like that. And here I have that line, and I will put another marker, and I start with slip 1, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, slip 1, knit 1, and then I turn my work around. Now it's almost getting too big for the camera. And now we'll work this back and forth again. And all the way to the other side. And now I'm here. Oops. And this one, slip one, knit one, slip one, knit one, slip one. So I have 6. And now it's time to work. Turn again. But before I start knitting my pocket, I will actually pick up stitches for when I'm going to knit in the round again. And why I'm doing this now is because I want to pick up stitches in a straight line. And if you wait too long, it can be a little bit more fiddly. So I think that I want to have that done. And I use this kind of plastic thingy, Scooby string, whatever it's called. I have a double-pointed needle. I just attach this one. But you can use a spare needle, or you can use, pretty much anything just to pick up the stitches. So I'm going to, this was the first round I knitted on my pocket. So I will use that line to pick up stitches. But I will have to start with the one that I have here. On the edge stitches, and those are a little bit more fiddly to pick up. So I'm kind of improvising a little bit. Make sure that I get something from each, like that, something. So I have 6 stitches there. And then I will just decide if I want to have the lower or the higher purl bump. And I will choose the lower one. So I just pick up every one of those kind of, we call it a low bump, purl bump, all the way to the other side. And there I have picked up everything I think. And it's not that important. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just have approximately the right amount of stitches picked up. And what you should do now is that you should just turn around and make sure, here I have a little bit, but if you don't see the string or the thing that you have picked up, then it's a good picking up. I see it a little bit, but it's because it's shining through. But you want, when you start knitting the inside of the pocket, you don't want it to be too visible on the front side. So I'm quite happy with it. And now I just leave this for now. And I will start knitting the pocket. And I'm knitting it back and forth. And the pocket will have increases. So it's shaped like a kind of V shape. And I will do those increases the same way as I did for the neckline and for the arms. I will, after the marker, I will knit one, and then I pick up, there I pick up one stitch below and knit one. And then I will knit to the other side of the pocket and do the same. And I do my increases on every second round. So you choose if you want to do your increases on the right side or the wrong side of the work. And I take one, pick up one stitch, and then I've done increased one stitch on the left side as well. And how long should I keep doing this then? Yeah. First, I will knit or do the increases every second round until I, on my needle, have the same amount of stitches as I had for the front piece. Difficult to show here now. But I have my markers here for the side markers. So I will do increases, so I have it all the way to these side markers. And then I would just knit straight down until the pocket is the length that I want to have my Huldra minus the hem. So I will keep on knitting until it's kind of, below my stomach, in the kind of my hip bones, approximately. I think that will be nice. So increase all the way out, and then if you still need to add some length, continue until it's long enough for you. And now the pocket is done, at least for now. I have done the increases, and it's wide enough, as wide as my front piece is. I'm going to leave that one. If I want to have the pocket longer, I can just add some more rows later. But what I'm going to do now is I will pick up the stitches that I have put aside. Oops. Here. Pick up those stitches and then knit in the round. Establish the pattern and continue knitting until the body has the same length as the pocket, or has the length I want the body to be. Now I have knitted a few rounds, and before I continue, I just want to show you that the inside of my pocket, I am not knitting the texture I have. I am knitting just garter stitches for like the number of stitches that I have here on the inside of the pockets. And why am I doing that? Yes, that it's because I have a texture pattern that is quite squishy, and the pocket means that I will have double layer. And to avoid that becoming too bulky, I knit garter because I find that quite stretchy. But you can also knit like plain stockinette, just to keep it a little bit more tight and not that bulky around the stomach. So now I will just keep knitting in the round for at least 15 centimeters or something. And when you have knitted a few rounds, you can also check and see how the transition between the body and the pocket will look like. And if you have been careful, it should be a nice, more or less invisible transition. And that's like the purpose of making the pocket in this way. So, and meanwhile I am knitting my body here in the round, I will think about how should I construct the hem, the lower hem. I haven't really decided yet, but I got an hour or something like that to think about that. And look at that. Now I have spent several hours knitting, and now my Huldra is long enough, and it's time to connect the pocket with the body. I have tried it on several times, and I'm very happy with the fit. And yeah, I have started to join the pocket with the body, and I am using the same thing as before, this kind of 3 needle bind off without the bind off. If I have called this something else earlier in this video, just forget it. It's supposed to be called 3 needle bind off. I think I've said 2 needle bind off sometime. But this is what we are going to do. And I will just join the last stitches here. And yeah, knit 2 together from the front and the back. Have you been thinking about how you want to have your hem? I think I have decided, but I come back to that later. First we join this. And I must say I'm very happy with the texture I chose. This kind of very squishy texture of knits and pearls. But you will have to choose for yourself what texture that will make your Huldra your Huldra. So, the last one. And now you can see how the pocket turns out. And it's like this. It's going all the way through. It's one pocket with 2 openings. And if you want another shape of the pocket, you can start earlier, so higher up. You can start with fewer stitches. And then either you do the increases every second round and then knit just straight, or you do the increases like every 4th round in the beginning and then do every second round to make it a little bit more another shape. That's totally up to you. I've made it every second round, and for the last rounds I just knitted just straight. And the pocket goes all the way to those side markers that I had. So it's all the way, like half of the body. But you can choose anything you actually like to have and try out different options. What I'm going to do probably is that I will just make some stitches, sew some stitches here to close it, like the bottom 3 or 4 centimeters, to make sure that nothing falls out. But I will decide that when my Huldra is done and I have been wearing it for a while, and see if I actually need to close the lower part of the pocket. This pocket maybe not be the pocket you have to put a lot of things in. It's more like warming your hand. Okay, that was that. And now it's time to actually do the hem. And what I recommend you to do when it comes to the hem, it is to change to smaller needles, to make it a little bit not tight, but still a little bit firmer, or it has to hold together and not just flare out like a skirt, unless you want to have a more skirt like Huldra. I will probably knit not too long, but maybe 3, 4, 5 centimeters. I will see as I go. And I suggest that you have not just stockinette stitch, but some kind of a more steady, like rib, 1 by 1, 2 by 2 rib, garter, seed stitch, or something else that you think suits the rest of the texture that you have chosen. I think that I will use garter stitch, but keep these kind of columns of knit stitches. So it's kind of mirroring the texture I have on the body, but instead of these, where it's 2 purl rounds and 2 knit rounds, instead I would have 1 purl, 1 knit, or 1 purl, 1 knit. I think I will do that. And when that is done, you just bind off with a stretchy enough method. Not too firm, but not too stretchy, so it should be a method that kind of mirrors or complements the hem that you have chosen. But what you choose, I leave to you. And when I come back, my Huldra will not be done, because I have the hood left. But the lower part of my Huldra will be done. And look at this. Now it's done. We have the beginning, the neckline, the armholes, and the pocket. And this is my hem. Not that long, but it keeps it all together nicely. So So far, my Huldra. If you want, now you can be ready now. But I want to add the hood. And this is what we're going to do now.